I'm not taking a cab.
You have this
I
precious
am
video in your
walking
hand.
to her apartment.
Right.
And I walked to her apartment on the east side, went in, say, hi, I'm here for Miss Liza Minnelli.
Miss Liza Minnelli.
And
in case there's any
in
confusion.
case any confusion.
Yeah.
Judy's mom.
Yeah. Judy's daughter.
Judy's daughter. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And she wasn't home. She wasn't home.
Mm-hmm.
So
you had two choices that day. You could have gotten back on a bus to Philadelphia, or you could say, God damn it, I'm going to stay in this game.
I'm going to stay in this game.
The sun shall rise
and
again.
I did.
Yeah.
And then kind of the other
But that was the beginning.
That was the beginning. At the end of the day, Alana, I am a champion of Broadway. I celebrate Broadway. I love these people. These are my people. I get them.
It's your religion.
So it's my religion.
Totally.
So I'm here to tell stories. I'm here to tell people about these people.
So when did you okay, so do you have, obviously your first time as a newbie with Liza Minnelli and Ben Vereen, which is literally, I was joking about sort of, the practice of the Coliseum of throwing men into the middle of this pit and go for it. But there was talk about trial by fire.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, with two of the greatest theatrical icons on the planet.
Yeah.
So were there any mishaps or embarrassments or any funny stories you can share? Because that's an adorable ending, and you got her. I mean, other than she wasn't home, which is very sad. And guess what? I'm still mad at her for not being home all these years later. But that's another show. Often people come on my show and have very funny, in retrospect, audition stories.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been mishaps along the way? I mean, recently I was on the red carpet with someone, and the person interviewing them did a full-on interview thinking they were somebody else completely.
Oh my gosh, how embarrassing.
Like they thought it was Ray Fiennes, but it was really, Liam Neeson, like something crazy. So I'm sure that's very sad, right?
Well, that's stupid on the reporter's part, really.
Right. So that's an obvious guffaw.
Yeah.
But I don't think you've probably ever interviewed someone thinking they were somebody else. But
no,
have you had?
I have to tell my Elaine Stritch story, and I have a bunch of them. But the first time I ever interviewed her, and towards the end of her life, we became pals. Every time she came into the city, or she lived at the Carlisle, but then when eventually she moved out, she would come in, and whenever she was here, we would do something. She would always request that I interview her. Mm-hmm. But the very first time I interviewed her, it was right around the time that the strike had happened. I'm now full on the Broadway beat. I think this was 2008. She was in January or February. She was doing her Elaine Stritch at Liberty show at the Carlisle, where she ended up living or she lived for a while. And it was the middle of the day, and I was supposed to go there at night, and I wasn't feeling all that great. And I was, it was to go interview Elaine Stritch. We needed the story. It had to happen. And as the day progressed, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I have the chills. This is not good. And I was like, you know what? Got to do it.
It's Elaine.
It's like
here's the ladies who lunch.
The ladies who lunch. I was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks into
If you picture the video of that cast recording album, what Elaine went through to get that song
brilliant.
Right, you can pull yourself up by your
if Elaine can do it, so can I.
That's right. I'm going to powder myself
up. I'm going to do it. Screw the chills.
That's right.
So I get to the Carlisle, and I was supposed to interview her before, but she was feeling nervous about her show. It was her first night doing it in front of an audience or at the Carlisle. And so they were like, you're going to have to wait until after the show. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, I'm not oh
my God, you guys.
To quote Legally Blonde, oh my God, you guys.
I have the chills and Elaine Stritch isn't ready for me.
For me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
OMG.
Oh my God, you guys.
And so I was like, crap, I'm gonna have to sit through the show, and I'm done. I'm sick. So I go to the publicist. The show's about to start. I said, Richard, I need to interview her because it was 2 parts. I was like, I need to interview her at intermission. It has to happen, and then I have to leave. I'm not well, but I can't not go back to the station without this interview. He was like, okay. It's like, I don't know if she's going to do it. Have you met Elaine Stritch? I'm like, no, please just beg her. So sure enough, she comes off stage. She was like, just have her see you to kind of get the lay of the land. Elaine loved her men. She loved her guys.
Right.
And so
were you standing there with out of shirt, covered in Vaseline? That worked for you.
And I was by myself with a camera. And
looking sick but adorable.
I was so sick. Oh. And Richard was like, Frank, Elaine, this is Frank. He's going to interview you. And she was like, when? And he was like, can we do it right now? She's like, yeah, let's go. So I get in the elevator with her. We go into her room. She was like, why were you doing now? I was like, Elaine, please forgive me. I'm not feeling well. She was like, no, stay away. And I'm like, oh my gosh. This is, a living theater entertainment legend. She can't
have my germs.
She's going to hate me. She can't have my germs. So she goes, give me the microphone. So she grabs the microphone. She's like, stay away from me. And I'm like, okay. So I set up the tripod and she was like, hold it. She was like, she starts ordering people, get Frank water, get Frank juice, get Frank food. Frank, what do you need? I'm like, Elaine, I am fine. She was like, no, you need orange juice. And she's like, get him
That's
orange
like
juice.
Shelby in Steel Magnolias.
Drink your juice, Shelby. So she was like, stay away.
Okay.
But she was like, she was there,
so
she was trying to take care of me.
So sweet.
So we finished the interview, and she's like, get out. She's like, you go home, go to bed. She was like, if you need me to write you a note tomorrow for your boss, I will do that. Just let them know. It was so sweet, and that was the beginning of our friendship and my love affair with her. I don't know if she was in love with me, but I certainly was in love with her. And the very last interview we did, they called me up and said, it was right around the time her documentary came out that Alec Baldwin produced. She was in town. She was having some surgery. She was living in Michigan at the time. She came back. She was staying at a place on the Upper East Side. We get to the interview, and they had set it all up. My camera person had set the room up with the chairs and everything. And then the publicist came down and said, Elaine doesn't want to do it down here. She wants to do it in her bedroom. So they brought me up, and we got there, and she made me get in bed with her.
Like Yoko and John.
Yeah. So we laid in bed together, and I interviewed her.
You slept the night you slept with Elaine Stritch.
The night I slept with Elaine Stritch. Yeah. And we talked about our pals, Judy Garland and Ethel Merman, and she talked to me about, hanging out with JFK, as one does.
A generation of women
Noel
that
Coward.
She was a part of, and all of those luminaries. That's incredible.
Yeah.
There are a few people. I think of Dominic Dunn, who is a journalist who has recently passed away, but wrote for Vanity Fair for many years, covering really high-profile trials. But he was someone who had been a film producer and lived a very high life in Hollywood, where the Gregory Pecks and those people were his buddies. And then suddenly he's also a journalist in that world. Truman Capote is kind of an example of someone who is a star in his own right, wrote about these people, and was friends with them at the same time. And you are now someone who remarkably has gone from fan to journalist to both at the table as friend and professional. And I'm sure at times that's tricky. But what a remarkable thing to have earned your place at the table because of your intense knowledge, undeniable passion, and true love for the theater. This idea that you are now able to share it globally is incredible. But generally, it's still a kind of, it is very hard for most people to get into see these shows. And the idea that you're making them accessible for everyone. You're like the Joe Papp of our theater world right now.
That's such a compliment. And I don't feel that way, but thank you so much.
Well, I do.
Thank you so much.
And all of us do.
That's all very kind stuff to say, and I'm grateful for those compliments.
But what's your dream now? What do you want to do next?
If I can keep doing what I'm doing, telling the stories of these incredible artists that, I've been given access to, who some of them have become my friends, I would be such a happy person if I could do this for the rest of my life. I truly, truly, truly have so much respect for, the talent that it takes to be on Broadway, for the dedication these folks have to be on Broadway. It's not easy stuff.
Right.
It looks fun. It looks seamless. It looks easy. but it's hard. I was just in London. You know, the West End, they put on spectacular shows. But the one thing that, you know, we have here is a community, a Broadway community.
Right.
And what this community is to New York, what it means to New York, it goes beyond words.
And that is one of the most inspiring things for me to witness, to have had the great fortune of being a part of at different times, and has really been a huge part of why I want to do this, to keep sharing stories and keep making the Broadway community grow and expand so that more people can be a part of it in that way.
It's so great. I love this. I love what you're doing, Ilana.
Thank you. Well, I'm so grateful for you. I know that you have 8 million interviews to do yourself, but I just really wanted a moment to kind of get a chance to applaud you and share your story with everyone, because it's a really remarkable one, and I can't wait to see where your adventures take you. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be in your presence.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Clouds can make the wind blow, bugs can make the grass grow. So there you go. These are little known facts that now you know.
Hey, I'm Ilana Levine. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to rate and review our show in the iTunes show page. Little Known Facts is recorded at the Hangar Studios in New York City.